Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well, having a beautiful day, doing whatever makes you happy in your happy space. Well, in today's tutorial, you are looking at it right now. It is so gorgeous. I just had to bring this up to you immediately rather than come on the camera and talk to you. I just think it's so beautiful. It may look intimidating, but I promise you it's not. I'm going to take you through the steps of how to make this. It's simple, it may look complicated, but I promise you it's not. This is the second time I've said that to you. I promise you it's not. So if you're a beginner, all you need to do is grab your fabrics, get your measuring tools together, and let's get started. It's as simple as that. The steps are going to be step by step. It's going to be manageable. It's going to be breakdown. And the best thing yet is that you have a step-by-step pattern that supports you with this video tutorial of how to make this beautiful Labyrinth table topper that's beautiful on your dining table. So let's get started and get excited. I want to see you make this. I hope that you would make this and challenge yourself. Remember, we are only beginners for a time. So let's move on from that stage and gravitate or graduate towards something new and challenging today. So let's get excited and let's get started. All right, guys. So today we're going to be making the Labyrinth quilt block, and I'm going to turn it into a table topper. I have already cut some of the squares and I've also made some of the hard square triangles. There's quite a lot of trimmings or cuttings, I should say. So I was going to cut the video down so that you can know what to do. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of cutting on the camera with you, and then we're going to move on to laying it out. It is a little bit tricky, but I would say just be mindful, just be careful, just concentrate, and you should be okay. Okay, and you will also need 3 color concept, and I am working with lights, mediums, and darks. So obviously these are my lights, my mediums, and my darks. Okay, the darks need to be strong as well as the medium. I would say if you are going to use 2 prints like I am using here, try and make one of them slightly larger. So I'm using a medium print and a small print. All right, make sure your contrast is there with the colors, and I think you would be okay. I am also using the very light, as I said, and I think all of these work together collectively to make a good block pattern stand out. The objective is so that you can see the woven sort of interfacing with the block. All right. What I would also say as well is to be mindful about cutting your triangles. Now, this block, or I should say the pattern itself, is very important that you trim everything up nicely. Without that, I think you will be sort of heading into difficulty. So I would say definitely trim correctly. Don't rush it. All right, don't rush it. Take your time, make sure it's trimmed correctly. And I am saying this because this block requires everything to be lovely and tight. Okay, if it is not, you may find yourself in a little bit of a pickle. So just make sure you do it correctly. There's no rushing with this one. Take your time, and I would definitely say it is a bit beginner friendly block. It just means that you need to just take a little bit of a time with it. Just be careful and be mindful of what you're doing. That's all. It just requires you to have a little bit of patience with it. It is a beautiful block. I am turning my block into a table topper, so it's going to be a little bit large. You can also use any size that you want in terms of the sizes. You don't have to stick to the sizes that I have. This will make a very beautiful quilt. all right. And you could use the size that I'm going to demonstrate today, and make 4 together, or you can change the size of the squares, as I said, and make it a very big quilt right in the middle of that pattern, right in the middle of the quilt. All right, but it's up to you. Once you see what I have done, you would understand why I'm saying what I am saying. And if you are familiar with the Labyrinth quilt block, you would also comprehend what I am saying. Okay, it wouldn't be, you'll be right. Okay, I understand why she said if I wanted to, I can make it into a one block wonder, one large quilt using one block. Simple as that. I'm just going to trim up here because I see that it's a little bit off. So when you cut your strip, make sure it's nice and cut accurately. Now we're going to make some half square triangles using the traditional method of 2 at a time. And again, we're going to lay them front sides together, and it will be done quite quickly. Okay, there is this quilt does use half square triangles to make it, and it does come together quite quickly. What I would do in the pattern is put varying sizes of size squares that you can actually use, so that you know what you're doing. But it's relatively easy. It's to me, it is a block that is a little bit challenging for a beginner, but I do feel that at some point you need to sort of graduate out of that beginner stage. And so I think this is a good block to demonstrate that you are becoming more confident with your quilting. So as I said, all it requires is just that you demonstrate a little bit of patience with it and just double checking yourself. Okay, so I'm here drawing my line on my 2 fabrics, which I've laid front sides together. I've flipped it over because this side is the light side, not the medium side. It doesn't really matter what side you draw it on, as long as you can see that middle line that you've marked on, which will become your cut line. All right, just remember I said that. So I'm just putting it front sides together, lining it up, and I'm going to chain piece this so that it comes together very quickly. I love to chain piece because it really does cut down the labor, and it also makes the block sew together quickly. So I'm going to sew on either side of that mark line, and then using a 1/4 inch seam and then cut it down. Now, okay, I'll come back and I'll demonstrate about using the perfectly slotted trimmer. Alright, so half square triangles made, chain piece again. So what I'm going to do is separate these, and then I am going to press them open, and then I'm going to trim them down. Now, as I said before, that it's very important that these blocks are trimmed accurately. All right, so what I would say you can use is your ruler, or you can use your perfectly slotted ruler. All right, so if you were to use your ordinary ruler, I'm just going to demonstrate it in here now. I'm going to use my roller here and press it back, just so that seam opens up nicely. Okay, now it's very important that you use the diagonal line on that diagonal stitch line. The reason why I'm saying that is because it allows it to go from point to point that way. That way, when you line it up properly, you will ensure that once you trim off the excess, it will be that seam line, or that seam line on the fabric will be from point to point. Okay, so line it up, whatever size the pattern says, or whatever pattern you're working with. Whatever the size it says to trim the squares to, you line up the edge of that. So for example, if it's 5, you line it up in 5. If it's 4, you line it up 4. If it's 3, etc. Okay, and then you hold it nice and firm and you trim around the excess. That ensures that once you trim it off, that point where the fabric ends is still at the point there. Okay, if you don't line it up, what could possibly happen, you would find that when you're lining up all your half square triangles to meet, you'll find it will be a little bit off. Alright, so once again, now if you have a perfect slotted ruler, they look like this. I don't necessarily use mine. Okay, no particular reason. I'm just so used to using the diagonal line. Okay, but with this one, all you need to do is use your slotted. There is a line that says it's slotted there, and what I mean by slotted, it represents your stitch line. It represents your stitches on your fabric. Okay, and you would line the stitches up to whatever size you want it to trim to, and then you trim it. As simple as that. Then you will go all the way around. You will go all the way around where it's supposed to be cut, and cut it down to the size that you want. As simple as that. Alright guys, I hope that makes sense. But I don't necessarily use this. I am very confident at using this one. It doesn't really matter. I've used both of them and they give you the same results. It's just that I think for me, I don't like always having to rely on special rulers, because when I was taught, I was taught to use these rulers, so I get used to working with them. Okay, so line it up on the edge of where you need to be, of the mark line you need to cut. Make sure that diagonal line in the middle is lined up properly, and that way, once you have lined those two lines up together, then you can work your way around and trim. So you line it up at the side and you line it up at the bottom there. Okay, and once you've done that, what you need to do is just trim one side. You're trimming one side, and then what you'll need to do is to turn the block around and remove your dog ears, and you're done. Alright, so I'm going to continue with that until all of them are completed. Alright guys, so looking at the table now, what I have done is separated all of them into 4 patches. Okay, and so this is one of the ways you can sew it together. Alright, there are some extra blocks or squares to go around. but we will do that once we bring everything together. I want you to think of this block, this labyrinth block, as it suggests the name. It's a labyrinth, so it would look intertwined, it would look woven, etc. Alright, so the objective is so that it looks like a puzzle. So if you can see that it's not looking like a puzzle, then obviously something is wrong. If you hear Jackson in the background, it's because he's moaning. I'm not paying any attention to him. Alright, what? Do you want to say hello quickly? Come. Come. Come on. Come on. Come on, you can come. Look at that. He's so afraid to come into my sewing room now. Say hello to everybody. Don't touch. Say hi. Look, the camera's right there. Say hello. Hello. Hey guys, you see how shaggy he is? He needs a haircut. All right. We'll go play in a minute. All right, out. You can't stay in. You can stay right there and watch me. All right, so let's get back. So we're going to start with the center square. All right. So the center square needs to make a pinwheel. That's the important thing here. All right. Once you get the center square correct, what I like to do is to say to get the colors kissing each other. So you want light colors next to each other. So for example, if I move this fork patch up here, you can see that the black is touching, so they're kissing each other. Same with my medium blues here, are kissing each other. I'm going to go over to this one. The same thing applies there. So we're focusing on the middle. We want to get that star in the middle first. All right. Same thing here. We can see the colors touching each other. Jackson, stop. Or kissing each other. All right. Next, we're going to bring this fork patch over here as well. Jackson! Okay. Stop it. You're shaking the camera. Stop it. Otherwise, I'll put you in your area if you can't behave. Thank you. Right. And so now we've got the corners to take care of. So the corners now we're going to bring in. And I will take a picture so that you are clear and what it's supposed to look like. I bring in the other as well, and hopefully you can see the star in the middle forming already. If I were to take away these three here, you can see that the four corners will show up the star. Yeah? And if I were to bring these back in, you will see where that medium blue is going to look like it's weaving under the star. I'll bring this one in the corner here as well. Over. And I will change the angle of the camera so that it looks, you can get a better view. But I'm doing it this way so that you get an overall appearance quite clearly. And being a bit fussy with the squares. Alright, and I'm going to bring in the corner over here as well, just so that it makes sense. Okay, so you can see that there. Now, it looks like it's spinning. I'm going this way, or it can look like it's spinning. All right. Now, we need to add some extras in order to show the completion. At the moment, to me, I love this as it is. It just looks like it's the star is moving to me when I look at it from the camera objective. All right, Jackson's gone outside. I can hear him. No, he's back in. All right, so what we're going to do now is to elongate the points on all four corners so that we can see the difference. And again, we want to make sure that the colors are touching each other. So we want to make sure that they are kissing. So you should be able to see that woven underneath. And I'm going to put it here on this side as well, like so. So the white must be out. The white is your background color, remember, all right? So the background color is going to extend with the other background color. And it will make sense to you once I start putting it all together. So at this point, all I am doing is adding in the blues so it gives me a point. So you can see where that labyrinth is formed. All right, so I'm going to put that one there. And this one there. And at this point I'm going to stop and give you an overhead shot so that you can see what it absolutely looks like. Alright, so this is the overhead shot. This is what it looks like. Okay, and then what we're going to do is fill in these corners here, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Alright, so to finish up, what we need to do is add some background squares, and I'm just adding them in there like so. So this is why it's important to have all of your cuts already done before you start laying it out, and then that way you can see the transformation take place. So I'm moving down to this side now, adding my corners there and corners there. Have I doubled up here? I think I have doubled up here. I can see, yes, it is 2 fabrics there. I just noticed it looked a bit thick. I was like, I'm sure I can see one underneath. Let's put that back. And that one there. Getting my next one. There. So hence the reason why I said just now, the white needs to be out, okay? If it's the other way around, then it's wrong. All right, and let's move over to this side. Now, if you wanted to, rather than add squares, you can just add 1 cut of fabric. All right, whatever makes you happy. It's the same thing. It doesn't really make a huge difference. I mean, you're cutting already, you might as well cut it. Okay, so it's really down to you. The choice is there. It's no right or wrong, however you want to do it. And a couple more on this side. And that one there. And the last 2 in the corner up there. One there and one there. Okay, now all we need to do now is to work out the corners. Now you have an option. You could, because I had some of these left over, you can use that in the corner there, and I had 2 left over. On opposite sides, I will put it. A design choice, so it's up to you. You can go ahead and add white all the way around if you choose to. And then I'm going to finish off by adding one of the darks in the corner there and the other in the corner there. I mean, you're going to have the strips left anyways, up to you. Or if you wanted to, you can simply add all of the dark colors around like so. But it's up to you, all right? However you see fit. Whatever makes you happy is entirely down to you. I'm messing with the colors. All right, guys, so that is your Labyrinth table topper. All right, now to sew this together is entirely down to you. You could sew the row together if you want. You can do it as 4 patches. It doesn't really matter. Okay, at the end of the day, all the squares are equated, so whatever is the easiest for you, however your brain comprehends it. You don't have to do it that way that I am going to do. I am going to chain piece these. So I'm going to work in the rows. I'm going to chain piece front sides together. And I'm going to continue chain piecing all the way down and so on. Because the rows are equal. You got 2, 4, 6, 8 rows in total. So if you want to chain piece and keep the whole chain together, that way you don't get it confused. Okay, guys? And that's it, basically. So once you're completed sewing, all you need to do actually is baste and quilt. What I would say, and as a reminder, remember I mentioned earlier that if you wanted to make this a whole quilt, you can, because as it is, it's quite large, isn't it? So if you wanted to use larger squares and make a whole quilt top, beautiful. It would have a beautiful labyrinth in the middle, and you can add on borders and make a proper bedside quilt, but whatever is the easiest for you. So I'm going to sew these together. I'm going to decide whether I want the corners here to be solid or I want them in the half square triangles. I may just keep it opposite. All right, guys? Okay, let me finish up and I'll show you the completed quilt. All right, guys, wanted to give you a quick update. So I'm chain piecing in half. So this is half. So remember I said it's 8 rows all together. So just wanted to give you an update in the easiest way to do this. So what I've done, so I've chain pieced the first, as you can see, the whole thing's together. So what I have done is for the last one, before I start onto the next 4 over there, I'm going to do it in 2 halves and then join it together. So it's just bring over and pin them front sides together, and then you can go to the sewing machine and just sew, keeping the chains together still. You're going to say hello to everyone? Look at you respecting the rules and not coming into my room. Say hello. You good? You're not saying anything? No? All right, back up. Come on, back up. Good boy. That's as far as you go. Sit. Are you going to sit? Thank you. All right. We'll go play in about 20 minutes. Okay? All right, guys. So just wanted to show you the chain piecing of the half here, as you can see. All stick together. Okay? And this is the other half that I've already sewn. So just to avoid any problems or any mishaps, just keep it in the chain. Okay, so I'm going to sew this side together and then I'm going to do the whole thing front sides together. I hope that makes sense. All right, so this is now completed. Now, I've got to tell you, this looks really gorgeous. Beautiful colors. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to go in closer so you can see what I did. So I did meandering in all of the white and the black prints. However, in the blue, in order to follow the layout in terms of how the pattern flowed, I did serpentine lines all the way through. I think it looks really gorgeous. It's beautiful. I've laid it out on point here. This measures 28.5 inches, and I've chosen to finish it with a beautiful red binding that complements the whole tone of the table topper. What do you guys think? Really gorgeous, very simple to make, only using half square triangles and squares. Very, very gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. The pattern shines through really well, and this is what I'm referring to when I say your colors here, your contrast is very important. Okay, what I chosen was to do was to use a little bit of the blue in the floral print that complemented this blue, so I based my color decision for this blue simply on this little flower here. Same idea went along with the red for the red in the flower, and of course the white will bring the whole thing together. This is a very simplistic, my apologies. It is challenging, yes. It does take some concentration, but I think once you've laid it out as I demonstrated in the 4 patches and then bring all the squares together, it will formulate very easily. This is beautiful, guys. It really, really is. I'm going to put my table centerpiece on top and let you see what it looks like. The colors, the contrast is very good. I love the subtleness of the blue tones, allowing it to really shine through and pop, you know, without actually realizing it's there. The star in the middle looks beautiful. That on its own, with the whole design of the star itself, is a quilt pattern on its own. But just love how that medium tone blue just transform underneath the square. The labyrinth looks really beautiful. I also went ahead and chose the solid squares without doing the half square triangles. just using the prints on their own. But I think it looks really gorgeous. The quilting, as I already explained, I use serpentine lines on the blue and on the black, and you can clearly see it shining through. It looks really lovely. And I also chose, as I said, was to do small little meandering on the white and a slightly larger one on the black. But overall, a very beautiful table topper. Really, really lovely. Stands out, looks really good. I'm going to put my table centerpiece on and show you what it looks like. All right, here we go. So put it down there. It looks really lovely with it on. Really beautiful. And it just works, guys. It just works. As I said, it's 28.5 inches, and I think it's gorgeous. It looks really well. Happy with the outcome. What do you think? All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There is a pattern down below in the description box if you'd like to make it. The pattern has all the steps that I explained in the video, as well as the pictures to help you create this a lot more easily for yourself. So, with that being said, bye for now. Happy quilting, and I'll definitely see you in the next video. Any questions, please feel free to comment down below. Any comments that you'd like to make, please feel free to comment down below. As usual, I always look forward to communicating with you. So once again, bye for now. Happy quilting, and I'll definitely see you in the next one. Jackson, you want to say goodbye? Say bye. No? You're not going to say anything? Every time I put you on camera, you're quiet. All right then.